Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so
Morning.
much for coming on and joining us this morning because I have a very special guest that is a wealth of knowledge. And she always has the best little nuggets when she shares these things that you always want to go back and watch the recording. So I'd like to introduce my guest, Shannon Jones. I want to read her bio just a little bit for you guys. Shannon Jones has been selling real estate since 1998 and specializes in listings and marketing homes. She has consistently been one of the top realtors in the Long Beach area. Prior to her award-winning career in real estate with the Shannon Jones team, Shannon has had successful careers in journalism and public relations. She holds a bachelor's degree from UC Irvine and a master's degree from UC Berkeley. Shannon holds ePro, CDPE, and PCS certifications. I know all those acronyms. I love them. Shannon's very passionate, which you can always feel, and maintains a strong moral compass, always putting in the best interest of buyers and sellers above monetary goals. And I second that. A California native, so she's here, born and raised. Shannon enjoys gardening, traveling, reading, cooking, and poker when she's not selling homes. So without any further ado, welcome to the Producers Club, Shannon Jones. You guys, round of
Thank you.
applause. Shannon, I'm so excited you're on here. So that's one heck of a bio. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and your relationship with real estate.
Um, I think I've told this story before, so I'm going to give the Reader's Digest version. But I actually I hate sales and I hate salespeople. And so I never envisioned myself being in sales. I only got into real estate because I had such a terrible experience buying my first home.
Mm.
So one of the things that's real important to me when we're working with clients is that we provide them a lot of education, a lot of information, that we communicate with them really regularly so that they don't ever feel like they're in the dark and having to figure things out on their own. And so I think that if you view this business as a service business instead of sales, that it makes a big difference in how you show up and what you do, and ultimately impacts your success.
The clients are at the heart of our business. And I think sometimes we get caught up in the busyness and the commissions and even sometimes caring for our families that we forget that.
Sure.
At the end of the day,
Absolutely.
they're the ones that are hiring us and using that word.
They are, and you have to really understand that. We were recently at a real estate conference, and there was a speaker there who, if you've never heard, I encourage you to, try and find his stuff on YouTube, download books on Audible, read his books because he's amazing. His name is Phil M. Jones. And he wrote a book called Exactly What to Say. And then he
little
and
black
wrote
book.
another book called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents.
Yes.
Somebody recently mentioned the name of something else that is on Audible, which is actually a seminar that he held and recorded. And I'm like, I need to listen to that. But he's really amazing. And there's a couple things that I want to highlight that I got out of hearing him recently. And
Awesome.
some of them we probably already know. And some of them were just like, oh, yeah, of course. And one of them is that people actually don't want to buy and sell houses. It's not fun. They don't do it because it's fun. People buy and sell houses because there's always a because. And so when you're talking to people, whether it's on the phone or it's at an open house or it's in person, your role is to discover what is their because. And so the important thing is to ask questions. You have to ask great questions. And then you have to listen to the answers. Because if you don't listen to the answers and really process it, you don't know what question to ask next. And, I know a lot of people will do, our team is really big on role playing. So we do role playing Tuesday through Friday, 8:30 to 9, and then we get on the phones. And I've had people sometimes ask me, well, what scripts do you use? Well, you should know all the scripts. You should read and devour and memorize and then internalize the scripts. But if you are relying on a script to have a conversation, you're sunk because the other person you're talking to doesn't know the script. Their script is what's important to them. And if your script doesn't reflect that, the conversation will fall flat and it won't move forward. And if you find yourself in conversations at open houses where people can't get away from you fast enough, or if you're on the phone and they can't get off the phone fast enough, it's because you're not listening to what they're saying. I mean, sometimes it could just be bad timing, they're in the middle of cooking dinner. But if it's consistently happening, it's because you're not asking good questions. Recently, Fritz had suggested ninja selling. And so I picked up a copy of that. And the interesting thing is that a lot of that completely dovetails with what Phil M. Jones has to say. It's all about asking questions. It's all about being curious. And one of the things in the ninja selling book, they said, sometimes people, they come up with that perfect first question. What's that opening question that you're going to ask? And then they say, okay, well, that's it. What do I ask after that? Well, the second question is embedded in the answer. So if you don't listen to the answer, you can't come up with a second question. So, I don't know if I'm just like a naturally curious person or if being, a journalist, a newspaper reporter for 8 years, asking nosy questions, prepared me for, asking nosy questions. But if you don't know what's going on in their life, you won't understand what their needs are and you won't be able to help them. So
yeah, and you said some really good things in there that I just want to reiterate, because I know we had a great conversation the other day kind of talking about this, that as realtors, when we use scripts many times, especially if we're not really fully internalizing them, we're just trying to get the client to go to the end goal. And we're not thinking about all the data and rapport that we can build in between starting the conversation and ending the conversation. It's not like leading them down a path. It's that you're trying to, get to know them better, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing that I think is fascinating, and we had a situation this week that completely illustrated it. So the thing that's fascinating is that I think, a lot of times agents, like, they get a call on a sign or somebody comes into an open house or whatever it is, and they make an assumption about where that person is on the journey. So very few people wake up in the morning and go, wow, you know what? I think I'm going to buy a house today and then buy the house that day. Does it happen? I guess. But very, very few people have their home buying journey that looks like that. So when you meet somebody, you don't know where they are on that path unless you ask the right questions in the right way. And if you discover that they're at the beginning part of the journey and you treat them like they're at the end part of the journey, you ready to buy a house? You ready to buy a house? It's very off-putting. And so the key is to ask the right questions to figure out where they are on the journey, and then to have a plan and processes and systems in place that allow you to communicate with them regularly and meaningfully along the way. So we had about a year ago, We had an open house, super busy open house, tons of people through. We probably ended up adding, I don't know, 30, 40 people to our database. And then we communicate with them regularly. There was a young couple, two guys who came through, and super nice guys. I actually totally remembered them. But I have a weird memory. So, but they told us at the time, we're in the early part of the process. Sure, we'd like a referral to a lender to get some information, but we're saving money right now, scoping out areas, and we won't be ready to buy for a while. Okay. That sounds like a lot of people who maybe come through open houses. So what happened? They go in our database and we communicate with them. Drip, drip, drip. We have e-newsletters that go out every week. We initially sent them links to our home buyer's guide, to our home seller's guide, because you never know when buyers show up. Sometimes they're also sellers. We sent them a link to our YouTube channel, which now has hundreds of videos on it. And then I looked this up. Then between that open house and this week, we also, on top of the emails, yada, yada, sent them another 13 emails, 15 texts, and made 26 calls. Okay. So that's a lot of communication. So this week, they sent me an email and they said, we're now ready to buy a house. We have been saving money. We have been going to open houses, and they're basically interviewing agents now. So we interviewed, and they sent me this, and this now has all my scribbles on it, but they sent me their list of their home goals. And I'll show you, this is with my notes on it, but single space, 3 pages of houses we like, things that are musts, neighborhoods we like, what we're looking for in a neighborhood, neighborhoods we don't want to live in, houses we don't like, yada, yada. So, and here's the times when we'd be available if you're interested in chatting with us. So I scheduled a Zoom appointment, and Shalise and I jumped on a Zoom appointment with them last night. Now, here's what was fast. They may choose to work with us. They may not choose to work with us. I don't know. What are they looking for in an agent? So this is really, I thought, super important. Let me find it on here. Did I print that part out? Oh, no, this is on the 4th page.
I was going to say they must be like engineers or analytical.
They're tech people. Yeah, they're tech people. And maybe I didn't print that part out. Hold on, I've got it. So I do think it's important enough that I'm going to find it for you.
Good.
Because here's the thing. These people had really thought about it, and they articulated what it is that they're looking for. Most buyers haven't actually been that systematic about it, but the things that these guys are looking for are going to be very common to what a lot of people are looking for, right? Most of them just haven't articulated it as well. So, so this is what the email they sent. We met at an open house at blah, blah in Long Beach back in March and wanted to reconnect, as blank and I are finally ready to jump into the market and find our first home. We put together an attached list of what we're looking for both in a realtor and a house, and wanted to see if you'd be up for a chat if you think you're able to help us in your home search. Let us know. We look forward to connecting soon. And so do you think that they were looking for somebody to be responsive? Yes, right? Like, had I not gotten back to them for 48 hours or something, would I have probably fallen off the list? Absolutely. But here's what they said they're looking for in a realtor. Professionalism and ethics, willing to give us relevant information to help us find the right home, straightforward with us, not focused on making a quick sale, positive attitude towards other realtors, buyers, and sellers. So no griping about, oh, those other realtors. Knowledge and expertise, experience with the market and able to provide actionable information, well networked with lenders and or contractors, experienced negotiator emphasizing bells and whistles to sell any offer we make, communication and customer service, regular written follow-up with us after meeting. Do you think we sent a follow-up email right away with a little embedded bomb video? Oh, absolutely. Relatable and friendly, makes us feel comfortable and engaged and attentive during our interactions. Now that's quite a laundry list. And again, they are talking to various realtors. Here's what they told me. I said, when we met, I said, that is quite a list that you guys put together. I am so impressed. I've been selling real estate for more than 20 years. I've seen a lot of, wish lists. I've never seen anything where people quite so clearly articulated everything that they're looking for, not just in the house and the neighborhood, but also in the realtor that they choose to help them. And congratulations to you guys on, doing such an awesome job of preparing. Tell me about, in the last year, how has that been going? They told me that their goal was to go to 100 open houses, and they thought that they had surpassed that. They put together a binder with printed materials from all of the houses that they went to, and they put together an Excel spreadsheet of every house they went to with notes, and then they ranked them all. They created a Pinterest board, which they now shared with me. It's a private board, so I think that's a good sign, right? But anyways, what I asked them, and this I found very interesting. I asked them, of those 100, like from a market research standpoint, I find this incredibly fascinating. You've been to more open houses and experienced so much more than most buyers do. Tell me this, like, did most people have you sign in at open houses? Did most people follow up? Like, how did that go? They said most agents did have them sign in, and most didn't follow up at all, ever. So, I don't understand really ever why an agent would take the time to hold an open house. You got to advertise it if you want people to come. You got to schlep the signs out. You got to show up. You've got to smile and be friendly and engaging. And if you're not going to follow up, like, really, why bother? But that is apparently what they found, is that most people didn't follow up at all. And so a year later, when it came to selecting who was even worth talking to, how did they make that choice? Based on who was still communicating. And what is the communication that you bring to the table in the meantime? Because if you're calling somebody every week and saying, are you ready to buy a home yet? How's your home search going? Have you seen any houses you like? Are you ready now? Are you ready now? You're not gonna be the one that they call when they're ready. Now, these guys are an extreme example. Again, very, very few people are this focused and prepared. There's a lot of people, though, who I think just say, hey, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we bought a house? Yeah, maybe we should go to some open houses. And maybe that's the person who drifts in. But if you don't discover where they're at and have a plan to stay in touch, you're missing out on opportunities.
Well, and thank you for sharing that story, because I think that First of all, these guys must be amazing because I mean, that blows my mind. They must be great computer analysts because the attention to detail is phenomenal. But
Crazy.
I think that list that they created is the list that every buyer wish they could share and or articulate for what they want in a realtor. Right? Be a good negotiator, be honest, build rapport with me, follow up, just like you shared. And I feel that your team really excels at this customer experience, even in and outside of the transaction, is that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint with these clients, especially when you're meeting with them at an open house, right? I think it's been almost a whole year, Shannon, since you've met them. And because of the timely, communications that you've had with them, they want to move forward with you, right? Or at least have a meeting with you. And I think
Yeah,
that,
and they may move forward with this or not. And,
yeah,
I can't control who else they're meeting with and what those people bring to the table. And if maybe they feel more rapport with that person. But what I do know is that the more opportunities you have, and if you're doing the best job you can, maximizing those opportunities, then you will have better results at the end. And more satisfied clients too.
yeah,
So
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. So speaking of opportunity, let's talk a little bit about the market. What are you seeing now? What are you feeling? Where do you see the opportunity coming from?
yeah, so our our sales are down last quarter, this quarter, compared to a year before. And if you look at overall sales and you look at overall listings locally, it looks like that's the case for everyone. And it can be frustrating and it can be discouraging to see fewer listings and fewer sales. And the reason that we're seeing that is obviously we all know that interest rates went up, but here's the thing: 67% of people who have mortgages have a rate that starts with a 2 or a 3. That is a lot, right? So people who in an ordinary world like we've had the last 5 years, right? People who when rates were 2 or 3 might have been selling their condo to buy to a house, or selling their smaller house to buy a bigger house, or their bigger house to buy a smaller house, are looking and going, wow, my mortgage is going to be so much more when I get rid of this house and get that house. And so they're not moving, they're staying put. And so the key is to look at who is moving. And again, that goes back to figuring out who has either opportunities, who's feeling pain, like really. I have a client whose father passed away last week, and her mom is ill. They're going to be selling the condo, right? So that's somebody, it doesn't matter what the rates are, they need to sell. I have somebody whose parents are getting older. They're wanting to move to be closer to their parents. Okay, that's not somebody who's going to stay put because rates have changed. See, I logged in to get that. Hold on. Sorry. Now it's quiet.
That's okay.
Okay, so you have to, it goes back to the script again. If you look at ninja selling, or you go to any kind of training for family, occupation, recreation, dreams, why do we ask the questions about that? Not just to build rapport, but because the answers to the questions about family, occupation, recreation, dreams, etc., tell you when somebody either has, a point of pleasure, like a new job or a baby or a marriage, or pain, a job loss, a death. And those are when people are still making the moves. So whether it's, getting deeper engagement with your current database, talking to them more, talking to your past clients more. How are things going? Are you still enjoying the house? But when you get in dialogue with them, you find out things that are going on with their life, with their family's life. And then you find out about opportunities. And if you're coming to it in a relationship and out of service, then you're going to be the one that they think about, right? So I have a past client who moved years ago to Las Vegas. I stay in touch with her. She never had any plans to come back here, but I stay in touch with her. When I called her a month or so ago, I said, how are you doing? Are you still liking Vegas? She says, Shannon, I hate it here, but I finally can leave. I said, why is that? And she said, well, my mom passed away. I said, I am so sorry. Well, here's the deal. Her mom passed away, and she now needs to sell that house. She also needs to sell her house. She doesn't have a realtor that she likes. She needs a referral to a realtor there. And then she also needs a referral to another place where she's going to go. And yes, she'd love a referral. So I think sometimes people forget that, you're staying in touch with people. And sometimes it's not just to stay in touch and see how things are going. It's also because there's opportunities. And if you're having genuine conversations, those opportunities are going to come up in conversation. So back to your question about the market, it's challenging right now because fewer people are moving. And so, this conference that we went to, they said, what's working right now? #working. Like, yes, it's work. You have to show up, you have to make calls, you have to do stuff, and you have to do more stuff. You probably have to have more conversations now to book appointments. And you have to have more appointments to get to people to the point where they're going to list or write offers. And you might still have to write more offers than you did 3-4 years ago. So it's really doing the things that work and creating more opportunities because people do still move.
I heard a really great quote yesterday on a class that I was sitting in to moderate, and they had said, we're not just in a lead generation business, we're in a lead conversion business, because if you don't convert them into business, you're not going to have any money, right? And so I think that's important that in these markets, just like you shared, that we're literally tracking every step of the process and still finding the upside of the upside. You said 66%, or what was that?
7, yeah.
67% of people are in the 2s or the 3% interest rates. But then just even in your conversation, your vernacular, you went into say, but there's still opportunity, and you have to figure out what that is, right? Whether it's situational, whether the people that have to buy because of a death or a divorce or something, if something familial that affects their situation, there's still opportunity there. We aren't seeing business go down to zero. We're just seeing it minimize, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And we're kind of struggling with that too. And I think if they're honest, most realtors right now are. But the key is to really, really track so there's two sides of this business. One is all warm and, fuzzy and talking to people and creating relationships. And the other one is about numbers. And you really need to be looking at both. So when you're having conversations, yes, you need to be having great conversations. You need to be asking great questions. And then you need to be looking and saying, okay, I'm having these conversations. Are they creating the results that I want? And so if you know how many conversations you have, and you know how many appointments then you book as a result of those conversations, and you know how many appointments it takes to create either a buyer who's committed to working with you or a new listing, then if you don't hit your goals, you can say, okay, where is it that I can make adjustments? Is it the number of leads? Do I need to create more leads? Or is it my conversion? If I have a bunch of leads, but I'm not converting any of them, then I need to practice more. And again, as a team, and I can tell you, because we do track our numbers, when I look at agents who are making the same number of calls, and one books a lot of appointments and one doesn't book any, then what I know is they've had the same opportunities. They have the same training. So what's lacking? And how do we create it if somebody isn't able to, create those results? Like, what adjustments do we need to make? And so I think for everybody, you really should be tracking your numbers, and you should be practicing, because here's the deal. If you are not practicing having great conversations with other realtors when the stakes are low, then you're practicing on your potential clients.
Mm-hmm.
You're killing your opportunities. Because when you're going to make a mistake with what you say or how you say it, like if you're calling and saying, "Hi, I'm just calling to check in," nobody wants to talk to you. Like, anytime you put "just" at the beginning, you're negating everything else you're saying. And yet, if you listen to 10 realtors, probably 7 of them are starting their conversation, "Hey, I'm just calling to follow up," or "I'm just calling to," like, don't say that, because it's not good. So we're going to do, so like I said, we do role playing every week. We're going to start on Thursdays, opening up our role playing if other people want to join us. So we'll start next Thursday. And here's the key. You have to be willing to just roll with it. And we switch things up. And so we'll always start with, do you have a particular question or situation that you want to role play? So we'll role play, open house follow-up. We'll role play sign calls. We'll role play, new lead calls. Like, you just got a lead that came in from Facebook. Now you're calling them. What does that look like? So we'll role play all of those. We also will role play open houses, greeting somebody at an open house. What do you say? How do you say it? When you greet them once they've walked around. So we'll role play that. And then what we started doing this Thursday, and I'm super excited about it. So if you want to join us on role playing, you have to be willing to do this too. Is after the role play, everybody mutes themselves and we stay on Zoom, and then we make calls.
Yes. Yes.
So if you're committed to calling, then we definitely would invite you to join us. I'll give Halley the link. So if anybody is interested, they can reach out to Halley to get that. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, we have fun with it, and it's a safe place that, you can mess up. You can say, gosh, wow, maybe that's not exactly what I wanted to say, rewind. If you're on the phone with an actual potential client, you can't say, "Oops, wow, rewind, sorry," So anyways, it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's quite the offer. And again, you guys are very skilled at your craft, talking about working with someone who is a professional when it comes to practicing those conversations and making them really meaningful and being aware of tone and inflection. You guys are very skilled. So I love that. Everyone's getting really excited. I'm already getting texts. So
I'll send you the link.
Good.
We're gonna do that next Thursday. So
Good.
it's fun. It's fun.
That's awesome. Well, Shannon, I could sit here and probably talk to you all day, even though I know we only had a half hour. Thank you so much for sharing everything you've done. And again, thank you for the gracious offer to open up some of your script and role play. If you guys are interested, I do believe their team is hiring as well, right?
We are. Yeah. And I know a lot of people kind of, they don't know, should I join a team? Should I not join a team? And so I've given a lot of thought to kind of pros and cons, and, who would it be good for? Who would it not be good for? And so I'm happy to kind of share that with people if they do have that question, because there are some reasons why maybe a team would not be a good fit for you. And then for some people, that it really would be a good fit. If you want to be able to focus on, the more dollar productive activities, just talking to people and doing the business, then, and what you want is more leads and structure and accountability, then a team might be a good fit. If you don't want to work, then our team is not a good fit. Because I really want people who want to do a lot of business and who are committed to providing great service to clients. So those are the people that we would love to have dialogues with.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much, Shannon. Everyone here on the call, I know I took a bunch of nuggets. I'm yet again going to go back and watch the recording later to write down some of the great things that you said. Shannon Jones, she can be found in the Coastal Properties office early in the morning to late in the night, hard worker, her and her team. And of course, I do see Brad and a couple of your other teammates on here as well. So, hey, everyone, have a good, productive Friday. Those of you that are going to family reunion, I know Brad and Shannon are going to be there. Have a happy family reunion time. Make sure you look for everyone, connect, because this is a great opportunity for you to grow your business and grow your referral network. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good Friday.
Bye.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Shannon.